Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. Hopefully you guys can actually listen to me and watch me without any audio and video issue. I'm waiting for incognito window to give me a feedback so I can know whether the audio and video is working. It's not has started yet, and if anybody of you are in the chat you can write yes AV so I can get confirmation that it is actually working. I do expect like 10-20 seconds of delay, so okay. It has not started yet. What the heck? It's not has started yet. And if any. Okay. As of now, I do think things are working. As of now, audio and video. Yes, AV. Okay, cool. Amit Kumar, thank you for providing feedback. So let's get started today. Now, today is a very strange day, I would say, simply because something happened with this Atul case, which is very odd to me because this is very generic case. This is like it happens almost every day. Now I do have the curse of going to a family court almost regularly. So, and again it will be 4th year this February, February 2025, and now I also have to deal with basically High Court that I have to go to Ranchi for that. So that will be another hassle that I have to deal with. So I do see this sort of cases almost every day, and average of India is like 100,000 plus that happens almost regularly per year. So this is very shocking to me. Why the heck this became such a big what you call thing, given the fact, and again you may say like he wrote a suicide note and all that stuff. Many have done that, like, so I have no idea why the heck this became such a wow event, but something must have happened that it resonated. But again, it's shocking to me because again this is like every Wednesday I get this sort of things, and again if you are in any sort of MRA groups, men's rights activist group, you will like find thousands of this sort of cases. So I do not know what happened, why the heck it became a very popular, but it did. What was the third method of what you're talking about in Hindi live stream? Again, I'll at the end of it talk about it. It's like the way the world is going, world is only gonna have 3 possible outcomes. Basically, it's what we call forking the road, so to say. So once you have started, and then you're gonna have like basically, if humanity is walking in this path, the path that 150 countries are taking, the 3 outcomes would be whole humanity goes poof. Now, can that happen? Again, not guaranteed, not absolutely, but it is what you call in the realm of possibility. If population collapse happens too quickly, we will not have the contingency measures to downscale the population satisfactorily enough, and things could spiral out of control, and not to mention global warming can spiral out of control. Basically, right now it's in predictable algorithm. If it becomes unpredictable too quickly, things can get like compounded and whole humanity goes poof. That's path number 1. Path number 2, which will happen to most likely to 120 countries to 150 countries, is that they will be replaced by basically superior things. What does superior mean? Superior basically means who is not I shall poof myself. Now what does that mean? Again, the marriage. Basically, I have talked about in length in multiple of my videos that if you want to destroy a country, you have to destroy its family unit. Once the family unit is gone, nothing matters. So every Tom, Dick and Harry is like, oh, it's inflation and all that. Nothing. That's not an issue. That never has been an issue. Nor it will ever should be an issue. It's just that we destroy the family unit. Now people are trying to fulfill that void and try to justify the misery that comes out. And again, I do not blame any man to making that sort of decision, because again, you are saying this case, for me it's boring, because I do go to court, and again that's why I urge you, do not listen to people, go to the goddamn family court near you. So that's one thing. So that's a second option, basically displacement. So one is extinction, another is displacement. Third, the most scary, is that if enough men loses enough of their heart, where they are like genuinely is like, you know what, I'm out of this, they will try to make a replacement. And while women did successfully replace men with alimony and police force, because again, what does men provide? Men provide protection and provisions. So provision you can get via alimony, and you can get protection by police force. So outcome is same. Of course, husband will be poofed, because again, if you do not have to deal with the husband and you still get all the benefits, of course you will do that. That's like, oh, 150 countries are figuring out why they have issues. Like, yeah, are you giving benefits of destroying a household? Oh yes, then good luck. It's like people are, oh, it's the cost of living. Bro, have you ever seen humanity before, like, 500 years ago, 700 years ago, 10,000 years ago? That was never an issue. India itself has gone through 22 famines. It never broke human spirit. It never bothered us even. But this is the only time that's affecting us? No. What has happened, we nuked family units. Once you do that, then yeah, then there is nothing left. So the third option is basically men simply says, you know what, I'm gonna replace you. Now, what they will start with? Well, most likely they will start with AI agents that takes care of this part. Basically, if this part becomes defective and lonely and all that, so it will take care of that. That would be the biggest jump, because once you have psychological reinforcement, other things are super easy. It's like, what about the body? Well, again, body is not that badly needed, but if enough demand is there, more than enough engineers are there. Like, bro, wait few years, we got this sorted. Maybe 25 years maximum, but that's not an issue. And given the fact how good Boston Dynamics algorithms are, not the hardware, I'm not talking about the hardware. Like, given how clunky their hardware is, and somehow, like, you know, given like, you know, somehow they are able to mimic human movements and how good they are, the bipedal motions, it's not that difficult. Like, if man really wants it, that's why I'm saying, like, but for that it has to break. This has to break. Now in my case, this part is like 75 broken, 75% destroyed, but again that 25%, again I do not know when I have to go to like, you know, Rajasthan, I'm saying, Ranchi High Court. When that happens, that will be another barrage of attack. I do not know what will happen on the other side of it. So we'll see that. So that's what I was talking about. Like, the actions that 150 countries have taken forks their reality into 3 outcomes, and it has already happened in miniature scale, because the most likely second outcome is that displacement has already happened with Iran. It's already starting to happen with Japan. Already happened with Pakistan. It's like people even forgot that Pakistan used to have hundreds and thousands of temples. Most of them are gone. Poof, gone. Same thing is happening in Bangladesh. Poof. So it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, things can be. That's most likely outcome. However, I will not rule out the step number 1, because again, things can spiral out very easily without too much hassle. And option number 3, again, because I do have sisters, I do not wish that to happen, because while you're like, isn't that would be the worst? Like, wouldn't that be like, you know, good? No. Like, here's the deal. Why nobody gives a damn about men anymore? Well, we have replacement. If you put a woman in a position where there is an actual replacement of her, you do not understand how destructive that would be. Like, we can endure that, because again, we were disposable by genetic coding. So it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, men is disposable. It's like, duh, welcome to Wednesday, a boring day. So that's not an issue. But if you make women into a you know, disposable use system, right? No, they are not. No, that's you thinking about it. But if that actually happens, the hell that would be created would be. Again, not for men, For men, it's like, oh, you did the check, right? Like, it's a chessboard. You did the check where it's like, hey, what if I take everything from you without giving you anything? It's like, okay, that's a check. Checkmate is throwing away the whole board. So that's there. Artificial bypass, okay, civilization growth is a key factor. Again, was a good engineer. He documented everything so well. Again, that's also does not explain this. Like, I think it's more about resonance. Something did happen that is just like boom. Because I'm saying old chachajis and basically old people who are stupid. Again, yes, they are stupid, because again, they never experienced bad women, so they're like, no. That's how they always talk. It's like, oh, you can solve it. It's like, dude, like, let's say this guy. What was that? Jordan Peterson. If he were exposed to the bad woman that people are exposed to in India and all that, and again, even in USA or even in Canada, that young people are getting to, he would have been broken and destroyed. And again, he would be in jail. Flat out, he would be in jail. There is no point. So all this old people is like, no, it's about this, and it's like, what will you do when you have a bad woman? Like, that does not exist in their mindset, because they never experienced it. So if those sort of old brain dead people are like, no, this is getting better, that means this has like, you know, pushed a bit much. So why do I always say sin of marriage? Well, here's it. Marriage is, again, I'm talking from an Indian perspective, from an Indian mythology point of view, or a religion point of view, or culture point of view, whatever you want to take it in that way. Now, family unit is compulsory. I have made that abundantly clear time and time again. Let that be very clear. There is no scenario where I will say family unit is not a good thing. That's the core of humanity. If that part ever gets corrupted, the end. So that's there. That be out of the way, every religion, every culture, every group of people, a large enough people, they generally have patterns, behavior, protocol, so to say. Again, every religion, be it Hindu, Muslim, Isai, whatever have you, all of them have certain constraints, like this is how a husband should act. Now, were there rules, laws? Absolutely. Again, generally they were implemented on far more looser way, so to say. We did not have like, constitution and the courts and all, but again, there were always constraints and it was always enforced. Now, enforcement again, rich people were getting away, but again, that's the same thing today also, so it's not a new thing. And poor people were suffering too much, and again, the effect of churches and effect of temples and all that, it's the same story everywhere. So it was always there. But here's the deal. So was it on women. Like a woman had to act certain way. She cannot just like, oh, I'm married this guy, but I'm banging this guy, I'm bringing this another guy's child. No, that was the line in every religion that I have studied so far. It's like, no, if you bring someone else's child willingly and knowingly, that is dissolution of marriage, flat out. Flat out. That's not like, oh no, forgiveness. No, that's like, no, you cross this line, the end. And again, even in Hindu mythology, flat out you could leave your wife for, again, even in our holiest scripture, Bhagavad Gita, you can do that. It's like, no, if your wife just goes around and bangs someone else and brings someone else's child, bye. Like, even though, like, divorce is not acceptable, like in that scenario, it is. So, if, let's say, Indian people, Indian culture, willingly starts to write things in constitution, willingly, knowingly, and for years, to reach a point where there is like the marriage that is right now legally inscribed in Indian constitution is a sad joke. It's basically a sin at this point in time. Because it's like, what can you do to your wife? Answer, nothing. What can she do to you? Everything. What does that mean? That simply means she can send you to jail, you cannot divorce her. She can destroy your family, you cannot divorce her. She can bang someone else, you cannot divorce her. You can bang her, but again, that can be construed as rape. And yes, Indian government, again, right now I think that law would be suppressed for a few more years, that marital rape cases are being done, which again should not be done, because the moment you use that word, you are destroying the consent of marriage itself. Marriage is the ultimate consent. And again, if you are not happy with that, how that protocol is working, cool, no problem, break it. Do not break like, oh, I do not consent to this. It's like, imagine it this way, the translation of this when a female access would be, she has to come house and then she has to get a permission from her husband to enter her house. People will be like, what the fuck, that's not allowed. And again, even in India, it's like your wife, she can do whatever the heck you want, you cannot kick her out of the house. Even though in our culture, it was like, no, she has to behave like a wife. She cannot be just like, she's for the streets, yo. That cannot be done. But again, they did do that. So fundamentally, slowly, over time, and again, this is not, again, from an Indian point, I can give you context, timelines and events and all that, but same thing happened in 150 countries. Although 150 countries that are suffering from low population, that's how you die. Like, you break the family unit by destroying marriage as a concept from something that is 2 plus 2 equal 22 as an emergent property to 2 plus 2 give everything to her. It's like, what the hell? And again, people are like, oh, the suffering, the it was always there, it is there, it will be there. Never ever in the existence you will reach a point where there is no suffering. That cannot happen. And every time people have tried to do that, it destroys more than it, builds, so to say. So that's like, okay, I'm thinking of not getting married when I turn 30, plan to adopt child, so we have someone to inherit my property after I'm gone. Don't worry about that. And again, legally, I don't even think that in India they will allow you to adopt someone. Girls, of course, definitely not allowed, but boys also you may not get. So what are you talking about, replacing women with like artificial women can make a baby without need of women? Again, that's, I do not see that man pushing for it, because again, men are not that, again, men should have been broken by this in 1984, but that did not happen. So we are still delusional. But again, I could see that men finally, like, what the F? If that happens, I could easily see that happening in less than 25 years. Less than that. Like, maybe as quick as 15 years. If we are willing to, like, let morality slide a bit and willing to push the technology, it can be done very quickly. Nothing in science is stopping it. It's just that men have to willingly want it badly enough to destroy every single constraint we have on medical science. We have to push through it, but it can be done. That's not a hard part. It can be done. So that's there. So are you talking about replacing? Okay. I'm trying to do it's just other boys. I will also make. I am 30.5. Now again, for many men, I would really recommend you to pay for it for once. The reason for that is like, unless you are old enough, you do not know, like, sex is not this like, whoa. The chase part is the most interesting part. It's not the, like, they say, there's like, it's about the journey, not the destination. Same thing happens with X, so to say. So if you actually get it, it's not like, whoa. And again, once you have seen porn, you're like, meh. So it's not like, whoa, the chasing part is still fun. That's why we do it. But it's like once you actually get it, it's like, not that interesting. So many people who have not received it yet, they do not know this. So paying for it, like willingly, directly, and again, yes, it is legal in India. Brothels are illegal, but prostitution is legal. And again, you can go to Germany if you want brothels to be legal, and you can go to Canada to be prostitute to be legal, but users are illegal. So it's weird, but again, almost all country since the beginning of time have this. So pay for it. Once you get that out of your system, it's like, this has this sort of price. And again, you can pay for more higher quality services and all that. Once you remove that bug from you, it's like, I need this, I need this. Once it's a real thing for you, where it's like, yeah, I can make money and all that, that allows you to control yourself far more effectively. Again, few people do have that asexual gene code, but most people do not. So I can only recommend things that will apply to majority of men, not few percent. So, in my locality, one man's wife in relationship with another man, she usually lives with her home, in that person's home, a whole locally knows it, but husband can't get divorced to her. Yeah, in Indian code, you cannot get divorced if your wife is banging someone else and living in someone else. You have to prove residency. I think that's the requirement. Again, you can talk to a lawyer, but flat out. So the moment that line is crossed, and if men are still getting married, yes, you are committing a sin. I'm sorry if you're retarded that you cannot understand this, but this is the point. This is like every religion will warn you, like there will be sign something becomes wrong and you have to stand for it. You do not stand, it's your fault. That's why under no circumstances I will ever say, like even in my own case where I'm like dealing with like this court case, and again, I do not even know how many years I can hold on to this or what will happen to me in the future. I do not know. And at this point, I don't even care. But who is responsible for that action? Anupam Vipul. No one else other than me. So same way, read the freaking constitution. And again, this is not a new thing, modern era. This was a planned poof event that was done long ago, 1984. That's how long ago it was planned. And again, that time, all these men, the original men, the masculine men, all of them were sleeping. So this was like really, really, really messed up. But again, I used to think like it's like, one person and all that. But again, that's why I always say, do not listen to me, do not listen to any gurus and all that. Just go to the district court near you. Just again, there are 600 district courts in India, and all of them have family courts. Maybe one or two exception, but an average of them are like 3 to 4 cases per day. So yeah, multiply that by like 210 days of working days. Yeah. That's the reality of it. Not, oh, Indian marriages last. No, they do not. Government is just using old data to keep propping up. Because again, apparently there is a line where if male psychology detects this more than 60% chance of failure, men will like wake up for some reason. Again, France also reached that point where they're like, DNA testing happened and they're like, whoa, every woman is banging someone else's kid. And people are like, I did not even knew that my kid is not my own. So they're like, okay, let's ban it. Let's just ban it. Even in USA, you cannot do that. So, and again, let that be very clear, it's different in different states and different jurisdiction, blah, blah, blah. So people generally to basically go around it, the best tool they have used is very simple of what you call paying a private investigator in order to do that. Because again, there is a loophole that allows them to do it. You cannot do it as a father, because again, it's like it's a very wrong thing for a father to know is that my child is my own child or not. So that's the reality. And again, if you are in that country and you're like, no, I will marry because it's the right thing to do. No. Why? Because again, above marriage, there is one thing known as constitution. Why? Constitution, again, it binds everything. And there will be good days, there will be bad days. There will be one bad day where your wife is like, I'm not happy. His is not as strong and hard as possible as I'm not happy. Like, I need like 10-inch long. I'm not getting that. I'm not happy. It's not lasting 10 hours. I'm not expecting orgasm every 15 minutes, whatever it may be. Or it's something like you did. Like, let's say one day your boss was just like, you so much that you're like just yelled at her and it's like, allow me to fire your missile up your ass. Now your whole life will be destroyed. So yeah, in those sort of scenarios, that's why judiciary matters above that. And again, constitutions are written by people, and if people willingly, knowingly allow that, they are not worthy of life. It's like you cannot be like, oh, these people are good people. No. If you are willingly allowing what we call paternity fraud, willingly, knowingly, yeah, no, that's a sin. That's a flat out sin. That's not defendable in any culture. Like flat out. And again, it's not the same thing that has like adoption. Adoption is a noble thing in almost all culture. Somebody is parental, but again, it's a choice. You choose for that. Awesome. But if your wife is like, oh, you thinking like, I have a few kids, my family, my gene line will go forward, and then it's like, no, 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 the boy is from milkman and all that. Oh, there was this judge, you may have seen that, he may have become a bit of viral. He's like, judge is 40 years old, and then something happened that they did like, DNA testing and all that. He's just found out his two kids. Again, he's very old, like marriage of 40 years, that kind of old. And he's just like, yeah, both of my kids are someone else's. I'm like, finally, you deserve this hell. Because again, he is the person who was doing this to all the men, who was like, oh, child is not yours, I don't care, pay the money. I am happy. And again, that's why I'll say, you did the sin of marriage in a place which does not allow for it, which makes it a joke. It's like like churches, right? Let's say if you are familiar with churches have certain constraint. You can't have a strip, basically you should not have a freaking strip club running inside a church. I mean, like, come on. So there are certain things, like, you should not run a brothel inside. So it's one of those things that you have to, like, there are certain lines that shall not cross. And again, even in Hindu culture, they're like, you just cannot do certain things inside a temple. But if they started to do, and you are still like calling it temple, it's like, no, that's a bhang place. Bhang as in like consecrated, I think that's the word for it in English term, but you get the point. So what about having written arguments between boys and girls before getting into relationship without getting into marriage, hence bypassing marriage laws? No, that does not work, because judges will still rape you. So I do not know where the heck you get it. And yes, the only benefit of live-in marriage is that your mom and dad will not be destroyed. In normal Indian marriage scenario, mom and dad both are also destroyed. Although, like, I have to say, this is how I know this was planned destruction, is that there is this trend in India which we call dowry system, Dahej Pratha. So everything is like, this is the worst thing ever, which again confuses people. It's like, okay, if the worst thing, why the heck it's always going on? It's not the worst thing. It's not even a thing. Like, again, there are some bad people, which again, tada, bad people in this world, tada. So it's one of those things, like some bad people did that, and what they did is so clever. It's like, damn, that is what they did in 1984 in India to make marriage into a sin, is that they're like, okay, if you collect a dowry, you go to jail. Okay, cool. If you give dowry, no effect. It's like, what the hell? What kind of BS is that? Again, same applies that to, let's say, bribery in a governmental setting, bribery. The person giving the bribe and person taking the bribe, both will go to jail. That's how you're supposed to, because again, you want to fix the problem. But then I realized in Indian constitution, they do not want to fix the problem. They want to F the man. That's why I said, like, it was designed to make it into a sin. Because at that point in time, your many younglings who are watching this video, they are dumb, they will get married, and they're like, okay, we're going to spend a lot of money. Again, I have no idea how the heck Indians have this brain damage. It's like, we are poor 99% of the time, but at the time of marriage, let's sell both our kidneys. So they're like, okay, we're gonna do this arrangement, and the female party would be like, hey, we're gonna give you money, because again, if we hire everything from our own end, it would be too expensive and, like, too wasteful. So we're gonna give you some money and to help this situation. That's what generally happens. So you take the money and boom, and then they're like, boom. They do this in your family, because again, that's why they always want to make sure that there is a bank transfer, so which you cannot deny, and voila. And many men don't even know that is even 10 rupees is that. And even if, like, the female party gave her female daughter jewelry that only a woman can wear, that's still dowry, because F the man. And again, at that point in time, knowing this or reading this in the Indian constitution, and you're still thinking marriage is a good thing, I'm sorry, you are brain damaged. I'm sorry. And that happened in 1984. And again, that's the whole point. In our culture, there are certain lines a wife cannot cross and still call herself a wife. Like, there are certain lines. Every culture has that. In India, it's like, you shall not, harm your own husband willingly and knowingly. That includes, that's the bare minimum. Thou shall not go to court and try to send your husband to jail. Now, again, if you are unhappy with your husband, cool, no problem, chiji. But here's the part that really boils my blood is like, you cannot get a divorce after that. This part I do say that no fault divorce in America, at least this part is good, is that you get a divorce. Like, of course, you will be destroyed financially, but you will get a divorce. That part I do respect. There is like, men can also divorce. It's like, no. It's like, there are certain lines if you cross. In India, you have to fight for divorce. And again, it only one way. If woman wants it, boom. If man wants it, keep fighting. Keep fighting. And again, it's not even like if you win in the court, then she will go to high court. And again, the likelihood of you getting like a divorce, and not I'm talking in the terms and all that, you will be destroyed. And again, that's what bothered me so much. It's like, if she is willingly going to some place, willingly trying to send basically me, my mom, my dad, everybody who's in your family member, which could be 10 people, 20 people in India, used to have a lot of large families, all of them into jail, How the heck I cannot use that as a definition divorce? Like how the heck that was like somebody like what was they were smoking? Like what were they smoking? How the heck that was even done in 1984? And what the hell Indians were doing in 1984? So that did happen. So again, that's why it's a sin system. That country thing, why are you so focused on that? I do not like the idea that you're asking that question. I know India broke from 1994, but how other countries broke see, other countries have different, similar kind of thing. Basically, here's the deal. What is marriage? If I like try to give you an absolute real perspective, not some butter masala perspective, not some like, ooh, orgasm perspective, real perspective. It's basically, you take a girl, you take her sexuality in the early years, basically when she's young. But here's the penalty. You may get bored, right? Like if you take her from like, let's say 18 years to 28 years, you are happy and having fun and all that, but you get bored at 20 years. Now you can dump her. That's not allowed. That's the whole point of marriage. You cannot do it. Like if you take her in her youth, you also have to take her in her old age. That's the whole point. That's a good thing. Awesome. But what about the wife side? Wife side is like, I'm taking his money, all the profit he's gonna make on it, and that's the whole thing. I cannot just like, oh, I take your money and I dump you. But again, every constitution in 150 countries wrote that. And you need to find, if you need to find these countries, look into global index of population, and generally those countries have below 2.1. And again, that's why I say, like, once you destroy the family unit, once you're like, instead of suffering for marriage, which again, both parties suffers, men suffer, women suffer, both make love to each other, both deal with each other, both drive each other mad. That's how you get 2 plus 2, 22, emergent property. That's how a bunch of bricks become house. And I know American people, if you are watching it, I have no idea why the heck your houses are made out of Hululu. I have no idea. Like my house is strong and it's not a bunker class. Like why your house is like, a child can run through your walls, man. Like what the hell? So the idea is like a place becomes a home when this happens, and that's how allowed to raise a child. There is a safe environment. And again, does that mean every marriage in the past worked? Hell no. Does that mean every woman was right? Hell no. Does that mean every man was right? Hell no. But we had fundamental understanding. That's the penalty of life. You're gonna deal with, like, you try some things, it works or it does not work. And again, the breakage of marriage was always this. It's like, hey, you can do it. It's like, hey, I do not want to bang him. Okay, cool, leave. I was like, but I will not have money. Duh. And he's like, hey, I'm bored of her. No, you took her when she was young. Deal with it. That's the whole point. Marriage was built on this core fundamental of transfer, and the fact that you cannot just yeet out of it. The fact that they yeeted, and even in sex, in terms of Indian system, in 2018, Supreme Court modified the constitution in such a way where it's like, adultery is no longer punishable. It was not ever enforced, but it was a thing which was keeping women like, I can't just go and dink chicka on someone else's one. But now it has been removed. So the idea with that is, again, it's a very old constitution. The idea was both will be jailed, basically the woman and the man she slept with, because again, they did not have the consent of the husband. I get it, like why it was in that way. It could have been done better, but again, I have no problem with that. Should there be a punishment? Hell no. Should that allow you to get instant divorce? Absolutely. That's not there. That's a sin. That fundamentally makes a marriage a joke. That fundamentally does. And here's the interesting part, Indian part. A man cannot do that. If you do that, your wife can send you to jail. But again, you will know, hey, but I have never seen a case. Yeah, women are not dumb. Okay? Women are not dumb. What do women want to above everything? Money. How do they get money? If you are in jail, you're not earning money. They can't check alimony. And again, in India, we do not call it alimony, we call it maintenance. That's why many times people are confused about that. So fundamentally, and this happened recently, and nobody talked about it. And again, there is this one line that is being crossed. This is marital rape scenario. The reason why this is such a bad line to cross, if you cross this line, what you are saying is that in your culture, right, Hindu Marriage Act, in your culture, men are more likely to be rapists than women to be a liar. Do you really want that culture to survive? Like, think it through. Think it through. If like, men are more likely to forcefully rape their own wife than like a wife to lie, it's like, do you really want that culture to survive at that point? Like, really, think it through. And again, the reason why, then people will say, feminists will say, oh, look at he wants to rape. And it's like, no. Because here's the deal, I know women can lie. That's why I say, please go to family court. Men have this thing here that overrides this puppy. So it's like, no, there's no woman who has ever born who has ever lied. Here's the funny thing, most of the penal courts in India, they have a fail-safe that if you abuse it, you go to jail. 498A, basically effing the men, there is no penalty. There is flat out no penalty. What about fake rape cases? Zero penalty. There is one case that happened that one girl got into jail, and again, that's why I hate freaking this men who are thinking with this rather than this. It's like this, see, the first woman who went into jail for fake rape case. No, what happened is like, she did something so heinous, the government was like, bro, we can't just let her walk away. So they're like, okay, find something else to charge. So they charged her for perjury, meaning giving false evidence to the court. There is no constitutional data point where it's like, oh, you lied about rape. Too bad, you can do that because F the men. And if you want to get married in that culture, that writes that in constitution. Sorry about this. I have no idea what happened. I'm very sorry about that. Generally, my phones are always in silent, but that happened. So it's one of those thing. I lost my thought of thread. I'm sorry about that. What happened? Okay. Okay, where was I? Yeah. So that rape thing. So if that happens, here's the deal. How would you prove it? Because again, let's say your wife is smart. She has sex with you and allows you to dump in her, and then she goes into basically a clinic and gets her rape kit, and then she's like, okay, your biological materials inside, that's actual rape. Because again, what is the definition of rape? She's saying it, rape. And then how would you disprove it? Because I do know women lie. So how can you disprove it? Answer, nothing. Nothing, you cannot disprove it. That's why that line, once that's crossed, it's not worth it. Like again, it was not worth it after 1984. It just took time for the virus to do its job, which again, not even very good virus, because again, it's supposed to take 90 years. It's almost taking 90 years. So it's not that fast. But fundamentally, this whole idea, because again, that fundamentally breaks the purpose of marriage. Again, think in this way, like imagine a girl has to taking a permission for entering her household. And again, I'm saying her household. Let that be very clear. But again, that's the whole point. That's why marriage is such a, what you call, social contract also. No, you both of you willingly agreed to it. And again, it's like, it's not working out. Again, tada, life, da. Every Tom, Dick and Harry who does a job will be like, I'm not getting paid enough. Like everybody thinks that, unless you become the business owner, it's like, I'm paying them too much. So it's one of those things, like that's what life is. Living a like driving car without papers. Yeah, in many places you can have same consequences as wife. Again, in India, you do have the benefit that your mom and dad will be safe, relatively speaking, but you will be destroyed. So what if a woman put allegation on male judge? Again, judges can handle that because again, they do know the cases and they have enough resources. If you are a judge, you have resources, you have contacts that allows you to create a defense grid that can handle it. Most people cannot. Again, rich people can still get married and get divorced. That's not affect them. But poor people cannot. And who is this poor people? Anybody who's not in the top 5%, basically. Yeah. I prefer the method 2 less superior because method 3, artificial womb, will completely eliminate the purpose of life and will create dystopia for everybody. No, I do not agree with that. But again, I do see that point. I do see that point. Some people have that, like, you know, if men lose their basically heart and they are like, okay, you replaced it, cool, fine, we're gonna do the same thing with you. I do get it, like, because again, this whole world is handled by men. If men break that badly, where it's like, oh really? You wanna go? Let's go. If that happens, please watch the interview of that feminist doing Afghan interview. Is like, she's like, bro, you do not have power here. The power is given to you. That's the whole point. Power is given. Men have to willingly take power, basically what you call responsibility for that. If men don't take responsibility, yeah, you're dead. No power, you're dead. You're just dead. Nothing else. So, one man in India bypass fake charges as a government simply having written argument with her. Again, that depends if the woman was not basically mad enough, and again, her lawyer could be dumb. That could also happen. But again, do not trust on those sort of things. It's like, again, you have to understand, court also knows this, that if they start to chop too many men too quickly, men might wake up, right? Instead of this, they're like, whoa, you're gonna chop this off. It's like, no. So all countries, sometimes they do what we call trimming, so to say. So they're like, one case, they're like, okay, no. If you want that much money, like, there are some places where women are like just openly showing that face where it's like, oh, I married him, I divorced him, now I want 2 crore, which is a lot of money basically. 2 crore per month is like, judge was like, no, earn that money. So be mindful, even in those sort of scenarios, you have to pay, you have to pay less. And again, paying someone who broke the contract, not that useful. And again, be mindful, what about how the heck they calculate it? It's up to them. meaning especially in business you are effed, because again they're like, oh, you are selling a car, it's like, oh, you must be making this much money. It's like, what the hell? And even if you show income tax and all that, again they are like, you can live on 5 rupees, right? You can live on $1, right? More than good enough for you. Give 99% of your income to that. Again, it's completely, who cares? And this was one thing that happened in Atul's case, where he was like, girl was asking crores. That's like too much money, like think in millions. Okay, so she was asking the amount of money that he was not making. So, and the judge, which is a female judge, flat out said, oh, if she's saying it, then you must be making it. It's like all these countries, 115 countries, like pussy equal truth. What the how the heck that happened? How? So, and now I don't believe this system or in system in India now. Yeah, it was always there. That's you have to understand. What if I'm lying, right? So the best solution of that is removing me from a point of view, so to say. Go to your family court near you. Trust me. Trust me, your ego will fight tooth and nail, because again, this is like, bro, I need, it's like, this will fight you. You will fight with me like having 10,000 paragraph debates and all that, but it's like, just go to family court now. There are 600 of them in India, 600, more than that. And again, I can guarantee you are less than 100 kilometers away from them. Just go there, feel the ambience. Don't even sit in the actual courtroom, just go. See the ambience, see what's happening. Like actually see it. What if puts allegation on judge, what will happen? Judge can fight it. Like again, there is one case that happened, but he was like strong enough judge and he had enough again, contacts are not something that to be underestimated. He literally just like put her in complete loop and he's like, he married again. He's like, I don't care. Again, he can afford it. It's like marriage is a rich people's game. If you're Jeff Bezos, you can afford divorce. If you're like dumb people, poor people, you're dead. So that's one thing. Even Hindus have higher fertility rate in Bihar does not mean the family unit is still why does not getting so many. No, it's not. See, think in this way: a train, right? Assume India as a train, and each coach is a basically state. Okay, so train is going in 1984. Again, some states would be ahead, some states would be behind. So you can look into the fertility map of India, and then you will find all of them in last basically 30-40 years it's declining. So basically train is crossing. So yes, some states have already reached 0.9, basically South Korea, and some states are 1.2, and again you can almost align it perfectly. Align it is almost a train. It's just that some coaches are ahead, some coaches are behind, but overall movement, like what is the overall movement, is the same thing. It's one of those things where this part of you starts to override your brain. No, but if this, what if that? It's like, that's why I'm saying, like, go to, even if you are in Bihar, Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, these three have the very good population, and little bit of Madhya Pradesh. Go into their family courts. Family court. Don't listen to me and don't talk about graphs and this and all that. Just go to the family court. So that's there. So that's even Hindus like, okay, nobody blames the Gunda. I will become one here. One silly question: if two girls get married, who will pay the maintenance? The ugly one. So I have seen in the live streams tell that present solution of boy like age. What's the present solution for me, boy age 23? Don't get married. As simple as that. Stay away from women. As simple as that. And of course, start to pay for comfort, so to say. Start paying for that, because once your brain associate money with that pleasure, it allows you to declutter your mind. It's like, okay, that's a thing. If I'm no problem, I'm gonna save up money. Basically, it's almost like a capacitor. You are charging the capacitor and discharging it. Once you get that out of your system, then your brain can actually function, because again, it's Maslow's pyramid of need. It's a very base level need. I understand it. And again, only few % of men have the genetic code to be asexual. Most are not. So it is what it is. So do that. So now I think allowing this, how they're thinking so small. Again, they want to boost their fertility rates, and it will work. Again, it will take time, but it will work. Because they are, bro, you have to pay maintenance because they are women. And as you what women do after she passes her young age, because women whose value decreases at the time and the price of men increases with time. See, this is one good thing about being a man. Your life is utter misery in 0 to 30 phase, like 0 to 30, like child phase. Yeah, you're dead. You're basically dead. But if you play your cards right, and even if you don't, at the end of 30 year prime, like boom, the amount of oomph you will have, the amount of like, I got this, it would be on a whole different, either you will be dead, that could also happen, or you will be like, I got this. Me good. And if you played few of your cards right, like you got a good career, you started to deal with finances very early on, you'll be like, I'm good. Me good. Me good. Me chill. And again, because nobody gives a damn about you physically, it gives you freedom. Meaning, in 30 years old, you can have far more reach than you had in 20 years old. Again, it goes further. 60 years old, you're like, damn. 70 years old, ultra damn. So that's one good thing. Assuming you do not mess up your cards and get married and then die in a jail cell and divorce court and all that. So that's up to you. So you do have to play your cards right. That's the good part. Bad part, if you don't, penalty is high. So that's a. Here we go. Neutron law of action now woman turns to do all sins and aggressive warfare which men are doing for ages. See, that was never the reality. This feminist brain damage that, oh, men were oppressors, that was not the truth. And again, if you actually believe that, why you're not banning marriage? Like, genuinely think it through. If you really think that your father and his forefather and his forefather for thousands of generations were oppressors, because here's real, what happened to India, let me tell you. India had this thing known as East India Company. And please look into it, who was in charge? Fun fact, it was a woman. So we were being destroyed, exploited by a woman, not a man. So this whole idea is like, what actually happened is like few bad people did bad things and women were very smart and men were very dumb. And again, not dumb, we are thinking from this. It's like, they attached the bad thing of done by few bad people, which again included basically the top 1%, the king, the royalties, the exploiters or the destroyers, whatever have you. They were doing it and they just like copy pasted that and applied it to all men. Now, were there bad men in the past? Of course. Were there like poor bad men? Of course. But here's the funny thing. Were there poor bad women that were like not a good woman? Yes. It was no magical, like, only men can be evil. That's a feminist brain damage. For example, like this is a trend in India. And again, this is like, if you go far back enough in time, you'll find this in every country. Especially countries like agrarian countries like India, Vietnam and things of that nature, is that in our culture, it's like the idea is if you have less food, right? If you have very little amount of food, the husband gets the food first. His stomach must be full. Now, it sounds very cruel and all that. And again, that's how feminists ran that. But here's the deal. I also believe that. But then I'm like, okay, why? Like, why? And then it's like, oh, you're talking about from India. You're talking about 22 famines. Oh, who is making the crops? Farmers. And so, again, according to feminists, men took all the food, and there were very little food, men took all the food. Then men went into their Ferrari in an air condition, and then they started to work on the field. That's the whole point. That never happened. What happened was like he was going into broad sunlight, Indian sunlight, and he was working in the fields. If he goes there and does that with empty stomach, he did. He did, she did. So that reality, oh, we gone through famine, that we had to do that. And how do we know that's the right path? People who did not poofed. Okay? It's literally natural selection. And that's why the cultures are also go through natural selection. Because again, if you have a culture that prioritizes one party above too much, right? Like it's like, oh, this goes like a woman too much. Again, you die. If you prioritize men too much, you die. It was always have to balance, because again, nature does not tolerate BS. So somehow they convinced the whole country it was like men the oppressor, men the and people believed it. Why did we believe it? Because again, so that's why I said like it's your sin, because you believed into it. You believed into it, you have to pay the price for it. What changes you want in our constitution? Fundamentally, the marriage is a pact. Meaning, if you want his money, deal with him. You do not want his money, leave him. The end. It's like, it's a package deal. Again, same goes with women. It's like, if man is like, oh, I'm not happy with her pussy. It's like, no problem, you cannot leave her. Why? Again, you took her in when she was young, you have to take care of her. It's like, and again, if you want to divorce her, again, I do not like the idea of forcing someone. It's like, you want to now pay. But if she's like, no, I'll leave it. And again, if she files basically allegations that are destroying you, at that point, there is no alimony. Again, I will either send you to jail or I will send her to jail. Because again, one of you must be lying in that scenario. There is no taking money to advocate. I want country to be good. So if either A, let's assume the man was actually oppressor. I want him in jail, not going into work and in society. I want him in jail. Okay, so that's the good part. Bad part. What if woman lied? No problem. She goes to jail. Actually jail. Like no bullshit, no horseshit. And what about like, if you do this sort of thing, what about the children? Again, whoever keeps the children pays for it. If she keeps it, she pays for it. If man keeps it, man pays for it. No bullshit, no horseshit. It's like, oh, it will hurt people. Of course it will. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. That's why marriage used to work for thousands of years and only now it does not work. It's like, oh, but I do not want anyone to suffer. Everybody will suffer. It's as simple as that. You allow some bad thing, which will always be there. Some bad men will be like enjoying it. Some bad women will be enjoying. That's life. But again, majority will be healthy. And again, we can move forward. We have survived hell on this earth. Nothing broke us. And you just introduce this one concept to destroy marriage. And outcome is like, oh, why we are not having kids? It's like expensive. Like, did you not study human history? We did not have money. Like less money and more than money is like, it has no effect. India went through 22 famines, bitch. 22. Not one. 20 freaking two. I'm guessing being gay wasn't that bad. Yeah, a lot of men are doing. Okay, conclusion is men are. Yeah, that's a factual reality. Marital law is the one thing that can save men from marital repeal law in one thing that can save men from us from marriage. Don't get married. That's why I call it. It's your sin. You have all the power in this world. You have to willingly give it up to be destroyed. So fundamentally, I will not allow you to be victim because again, here's the reason. I love you too much to be a victim. Victimhood card, which women are using, has a penalty. The more you use that card, the more the wolf comes closer. So it's like the boy who cried wolf is like a woman who cried wolf. It's like there will be a point where that wolf actually comes and there won't be any men left. And again, look into Afghanistan, like, we are strong, independent, feminist. So that's the one thing. Fundamentally, you have the choice. $400,000 is a lot of money for India, by the way. Average yearly income is $2,000. $400,000. I'm not talking about that much dollar. I do not know where you got that number, but okay, cool. Did you converted that, like, crore, that 2 crore that she was asking? Okay, the best thing is. Do you watch full video of other? Yeah, I watched it, but it was the same boring thing. That's why that part I do not get. It's like I've seen it many times, so I do not know why the heck it resonated. So something maybe it's just like ting resonated. I'm like, I've been screaming the same thing for a few years now. So I have foreign girlfriend, never gonna get married. Yeah, that's actually a good sense. Basically, if you are psychologically lonely, that part can be taken care of. She cannot file a rape case because, oh, you got raped, like wireless rape. So that's the good part. And again, she's not in this country, so no marriage thing. Again, there was some idiot who was in Canada and he got married to Indian woman and he came to India. I was like, I'm like, what the hell were you thinking, man? What the heck? And again, to be fair, I have also an Indian relative who went to Germany and then police. So it's like, what the hell were you, like, study the law of the country you go into. Like, if the law says, we're gonna come to your house and kick you out of your house you paid for, and you're like, I'm gonna get married in this country. Yeah, you are retarded. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you do not have this. I'm sorry this is controlling your full part. So you have to be poofed. Again, it's almost natural selection, where it's like, dumb shall be poofed. So, what will women do after she passes the engagement? Again, why are you worried about that? Let that be very clear. Why are you worried about it? Whatever happens to her, let that happen to her. It's her life, her choice, her decision. Do not worry about it. Let women go. Don't think about it. It's just like, bye. You do you, me do me chill, me safe. Done. After money for. Of course, see, for women, money is above everything. Everything. You want to see the dark sides of it? Do you really want to see the dark side? Look into what women sell in Colombia. For money. So, evolution works slowly yet perfectly, shaping life over millions of years with precision and adaptation. Not precise, it's not precise, but it works. That part is true, it works. New thing learned the truth was like, minded just. Yeah. How to get better, how you got so better in English? Experience, I've studied it a lot. Again, watch a lot of English TV shows. Yeah, but the question is, without marriage, how you get a body desire? Again, I told you, pay for it. Again, it's illegal in India. Again, brothels are not. Be loyal or Mercury. So things are okay. You are repeating the same thing. Please don't repeat. I can see marrying Indian man. What does it show about Russia? Again, women will leave a struggling man behind. That's why this rule of marriage was created. It's like, no, you cannot dump your husband. Oh, he's struggling and suffering. You can. That's why, like, thick and thin. Thick and thin. You have to deal with that. Again, all our Sat Fere, that's the whole point. You cannot just like, oh, when he's rich, I'm having fun. When he's not rich, fuck you. That's not how marriage works. That's not how marriage works. But again, that's how marriage is working, because again, marriage is now a sin, and if you are committing a sin, you have to suffer. As simple as that. My apologies. My throat is very sparse right now, so I'm drinking a bit of water. My apologies. But our parents force us for marriage. Yeah, of course they will, but you have to let them go. Basically, rule number one: do not stay in your parental home. It will be like, again, nothing is worth it. Let that be very clear. There are certain things you'll think, oh, it's worth it. No, because yes, dear, what is the penalty? If it works, cool, you have an average life, which again, likelihood of you having average life is now zero, and likelihood of you having a miserable life in a marriage is very, very, very high. And then what is the penalty of getting into a family court? That's extremely high. Yeah, it's not worth it. It's almost like start a new business. Cool. You're like, okay, awesome. What is the penalty that happens? You go into a bit of debt. It does not work out. Cool. Now imagine the same thing. Start a business. And if you fail, we're gonna boom you. Finger by finger. We're gonna take your finger, boom it. Then take another finger, boom it. Like, no, bro. We good. So same thing. Penalty is so goddamn high. And again, if you pay someone for breaking something, they will break it. If you're like, oh, you're telling me that I do not have to put up with him and I get his house and money, and even you're like, oh, it's only 40% or 50%. It does not matter. It's free money. It's free freaking money. So it's like everybody will do that. So, your relative may have German woman. Yeah, not German woman, Indian woman. They went to Germany and then they got left there. The secretary sir once said, if you want a wife like goddess power, first become Lord Shiva. Yeah, that's also a point. Again, do accept that you are not God. You are not like, mine is big, mine is strong, mine is hard, mine can last all night long, and mine can give a lot of G-spot orgasms. Yeah, no, you won't. So, come to reality. So, which woman should I choose? Not Indian, Russian, American, Israeli, or where? Let a woman go. That's why my Instagram saying like, Telegram, Telegram group. I was like, let a woman go, just let them go. This is their nature. It has always been that. And again, there are good nature and bad nature, and we suppress the bad nature to let good nature rise. That's the, like, even in Doctor Strange, they had a very good saying, like, you do not defeat your dark side, you just rise above it. So we always knew this, but again, in recent time, we stopped thinking logically and started, so that's one thing. If our parliament judges in the court are aware of this problem, why they are not making any effort to solve it? Again, they will get money for it, no? See, like, what do you think is happening in the court? Is who's making money? Follow the money. All the judges, all the freaking, divorce lawyers, they're getting so much money. Money, man, money. And it was if you one woman had too much body count, they are not happy because they're burning so many brain cells, which causes yeah. See, if any woman has a lot of partners, problem is you need to be a god man to satisfy her, because again she has a catalog of experiences. Like, no, his one was now very good. He was a very good kisser. He was very good with the anal. He was very good with the vaginal. He was very good with the oral. So you cannot match that. Every man will have certain experience. Oh, there was this guy who was almost asexual. He did not wanted it. So she has such a long what you call checklist. And again, men are designed to be what we call homeostasis seeker, meaning we do not like change. We're like, bro, just put us somewhere and like just we do not like change. Women are completely opposite. It's like it has to be new and exciting. Problem is that if you chase that, both were, again, that's why the marriage concept was there. It's like one is like a unmovable object, and another was unstoppable force. Both were balancing each other out. Now you're like, but what if women get all the benefits without the penalty? It's like, that's not how it works. Like, you do not get paid if you do not do a job. Another aspect is like somehow women has convinced whole generation of this lie that a wife is an unpaid labor, motherhood is an unpaid labor. No, it's not. Like, ask a single woman that does not have alimony and does not have government support. Oh, how easy it is to like raise a child and all that. They're like, oh, she has to make food and all that. Fun fact, you have to do that when you are alone also. Only difference would be far more miserable, because now you have to earn enough money and then cook for food for yourself. All of that in 24 hours day. This lie that successfully convinced the whole planet, that's why we are dying. We have to die. Like, we are sinners. We have to suffer. We have to pay the price. So, Amit Kumar, no. There are certain things I do not want to explain. This is easy. Yeah, you can try those twice also. Please explain about okay, this life feels like dubbed version of Hindi live stream. Yeah, okay, that would be a good thing because again, it's been over a month. Your throat issue is still there. Get well soon. Yeah, I'm going away basically on Monday. Not Monday. I will land on Monday. So the idea is I'll go to a hospital far away and then hopefully get treated and all that. So I'm going on. Which book you are reading right now? Once I'll finish it, I'll talk about that. It looks like only Muslims and Jews will survive. No, only Muslims. Because again, you do have population of scale matters. Because SD, Pakistan, right? People forgot like Pakistan used to be a part of India. It's like used to have a lot of temples. What happened to them? So same thing will happen with Jews. Again, that's why population size matters. Once you do not have the size, basically, if somebody can outbreed you, they will outdisplace you. So it's one of those things. Higher outcomes for a man can make unhappy man because of setting you pay for it. No, if you are paying for it, you know the price. It's not free for you. It's free for her. She can just like pick up a phone and there will be like 10 guys. That's the problem for them. They are not paying for it. That's the reason why it's destroyed. For you, it's like, you're going to have fun. It's like, hey, I spent this much. And it's like, yeah, not that good. I spent this much. This is awesome. Then you're going to chase her. It's like, oh, then I have to find someone else. It's like, because again, as long as you are paying for it, there has to be a give and take. There has to be a price. Only then you can do that. And again, I do not flat out, under no circumstances, I recommend one night stands and things of that nature. Pay for it. Again, pay from your hard earned money. Do not troll, do not play around. That will have severe consequences on this. Pay for it. So I wanted another option. Develop enough tech of genetics coding and biotechnology will make 40 years talking about Blade Runner kind of a boss. That could also happen. Japan started 3 holidays in a week for size increasing population. That was never the problem. That was never the problem. Like people, this is the funny part to me. It's like why this is happening. It's like, dude, that country survived 2 nukes in its face. And again, that did not cause an issue. The moment woman starts to realizing, hey, I can dump my husband, take the money, every woman did that. So what you are having right now, children looking into it is like, huh, my grandfather did that. And my grandma is like, he's blah, 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 he's bad. He's pathetic. I took his, again, then he was their father. It's like, huh, my, father is bad and all that. It's like, at some point he will have enough brain where it's like, hey, what if that happens to me? So it's like, no. But again, nobody will take it seriously because again, you cannot say that woman did something wrong. It's like, woman wrong, no. Only men can be wrong. And again, that's our greatest advantage. It's one of the ironic things. Is like people say, like great power comes great responsibility. It's the opposite. With great responsibility comes the great power. Men are powerful because they take responsibility for things. So that's there. Is there a whole saying about once he goes black, he'd never come back? That's also a thing. Yeah, selling kids for money. What if you have black long from multiple enjoying winters. Yeah, not that much. Just give a little context about the conversation. I could search for it. No, I do not want you to. I do not want you to. I do not like the fact that you are looking into it. If we started to pay, what about the next generation? Again, why are you acting like a god? Like freaking Indian Supreme Court does not give a damn. We pay them for that. We pay them to safeguard the country, and they are not thinking about why the heck your ego is so much. That's another reason why. This is the reason why this got so bad. Imagine every man was like, huh. Oh, you're gonna destroy us and I cannot even get a divorce when my wife is trying to actually send me and my family into jail. No, F you. I will not get married. The end. It will be solved like this. But we did not. So it's like, what about the... It's like if you want to sacrifice yourself, don't cry when you are sacrificed. It's like going into a soldier is like, oh dude, it's a lot of physical hard work. It's like, duh. So flat out, do not let your ego get to like, I am the god, I am the one responsible for the human civilization. You are not. You are not. You are flat out not. Especially if you are in this sort of cultures, you are not. You are just there to be poofed. Now question is, do you want to go there peacefully and be like, hey, I had a good life, I learned things, I enjoyed things, I traveled, do whatever have you. I did all things, help other people, everything, go YOLO on those things and then pass away or rot to that. So choice is yours. But do not act like you're a god. We pay gods, and it does not work out for us. Like there are freaking actual Supreme Court judges. Infidelity is number one reason for divorce in USA. No, it's everywhere. And again, do not focus on US details. It's like they always keeps changing it, always keeps changing it up. It's like, bro, if you get money for breaking something, you will break it. As simple as that. And again, France had a far more infidelity. They flat out banned DNA testing on children simply because everybody was everybody's wife was banging someone else. So flat out. There was this one meme that I saw that was very poignant, so to say. It was like a lot of black dudes and a lot of black women, and it's like, do you believe in woman intuition? You may have seen that. It's like, do you believe in woman intuition? It's like, hell yeah. You can tell when your man is cheating. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, if you can tell that, why can't you tell when your man is unhappy? And it was silent. The music was so epic. It was like, whoa. It's like, because we do not matter. It's like, hey, give me money. That's all there is to it. Give me money for the least amount of work. But again, the ironically part is the more women we become like that and actually gets to do that, the more miserable she becomes. Because again, the labor gives us joy. You want to do work. Again, you want to do less work for more money, but you do want to work. You never want to, I'm just going to sit, this is sofa, I'm just going to chill there. You never want that. It's bad. You never want that. Seeing the wife with the ex and India will come to full circle like in America and after marriage. Full of cucks like. See, 150 countries are like, do not focus on that like, oh, India is like this or America, 150 countries. So that's there. What are views on DNA model? I have made a video about that. No, see, that may have a person, poor baby creation. Again, that's the third option. If man really loses their heart, they will look into that third option. And again, I do not know the outcome of that, but dude, that just went too cruel. Okay. So it's been 1 hour. I will take my leave. It was an interesting live stream. I think few people must have watched it. So that's why, final saying, if the marriage laws are messed up, marriage is a sin. And if you commit that sin, do not complain when it goes bad. Like, it was your action. You have all the choice in the world to not get married. If you get married, do not cry about the law, because you can read the law before you get married. You're supposed to do that. If you do not, then do not cry about it. Okay, bye.